Okay, a lot of detail in this one. The important thing I'm trying to demonstrate here is that there are profitable ways to make money in a direct-to-retail sort of business. Here's an illustration of 3 different ways to sell vegetables. In that second column, wholesale vegetables, I point out in red there, the net margin, typically 4%. If you're in a retail farm market, farm stand sort of environment, your expected margin might be 10% and 20%, 15 to 20% if you're in a CSA. This is new information for a lot of people across the country. If you don't understand retail agriculture and you're in conventional agriculture and you might tend to dismiss it as something that is a little bit small or insignificant or frivolous even. And you can say to somebody, well, you know, I'm really more interested in making money than I am in farming acres. So I think instead of selling wholesale, I think I'll have a CSA and be able to have a much more comfortable living, a net profit at a much lower sales level, which, by the way, I can accomplish on fewer acres. So being able to demonstrate from a lender standpoint that we understand this kind of business model, and in fact we would lend to it, is a significant change in the capability of farmers to be able to access that capital, to be able to do a retail agriculture-based business. So where is this happening? This is a map of CSAs from USDA, Community Supported Agriculture Operations. The number that's represented on this is about 12,000 CSA operations across the country. If you look at the legend at the bottom there's the red. There are 19 counties that have between 31 and 79 CSA farms in them. It goes red and then trending to blue. We'd expect that to be on the East Coast and the West Coast. That's where people are that do this kind of stuff, right? That's not the important part of what I'd like you to see in this map. The important part is that almost 8 out of 10 counties, all those yellow areas, have at least 1 or between 1 and 10 CSA operations in them. This is retail agriculture. This is everywhere. If you don't see this in your backyard, of course you do here on the Eastern Shore, but if you don't see this in your backyard, it's probably because you're not looking. It is everywhere. And so where are beginning farmers? Where do they begin their operations? This is beginning principal operator. That means the farmer who's starting the operation has 10 years or fewer of experience in management. It turns out that 40% of beginning farmers are in metro counties. Now, a lot of those operations are very small. They're not high-grossing operations, but this is a change. In the 2007 Ag Census, at 40% of beginning farmers in metro counties. That's a trend up from the low 30s. Over time, now we're at about 40%. And you can see that they too are concentrated around the urban areas, of course, because they're in metro counties, but they are looking at the legend, the green and yellow counties. Would anybody have thought that Texas would be a real nexus for beginning farmers starting in metro counties? What are they doing? I mean, could you fit a longhorn in a metro county? Well, the counties are bigger in Texas, I guess. We have to admit that. But I would suggest to you, again, this is anecdotally, that a lot of the beginning farmers that are starting in metro counties are starting direct-to-retail based farm businesses. This is not a surprise. That's where the market is. That's where the people are. And farmers, beginning farmers particularly, younger beginning farmers most especially, are figuring out that they can use the skills that they've developed in growing up in an internet age where they're on the cell phones and texting and Facebook and able to translate that into supplying consumer needs, being able to figure out what people want and being able to market it. And that's why they're in those counties that are metro counties. So let's try to define retail ag a little bit better. Of course, it's consumer oriented, but I want to point out just one of the bullets. The last one is one of the challenges for that broad. Now you know what it is. I can just say retail agriculture. This sector called retail agriculture has a challenge of infrastructure. As we've developed as an agricultural economy over the last 50, now getting close to 60 years since we built our interstate and we've changed transportation and refrigerated transportation. We've consolidated production into different areas. What used to be very common to have production systems that were much more localized. I farmed in New Hampshire. 10 miles north of the town I grew up in, or not grew up in, farmed in, is a little roadside sign, you know, one of those history signs, and it says this is where the corn canning plant was up until 1952. 10 miles south of where I live, there's a similar roadside sign that says this is where the ketchup factory used to be. Now, does anybody have a concept that you used to grow ketchup? Well, I think they grew tomatoes, they made it into ketchup, but they grew ketchup in New Hampshire? I mean, come on. But that's how our food system used to work. Does that mean we're going to rebuild that? I kind of doubt it. But because what retail agriculture is more likely to be composed of is that individual marketing that is a producer figuring out what that local customer wants. I would say it's probably a fallacy to think that we're going to have ketchup factories reappear in New Hampshire, but we're sure as heck going to have a lot of sales of summer vegetables and even season extending greens and other things that can be grown in that area, and that is going to expand and be an opportunity for beginning farmers. What else characterizes retail agriculture? Certainly there's a lot of new farms, that 40% of beginning farmers popping up in the metro counties. We're adding farms. I want you to hold that thought for a minute. That first bullet, intensive layering. By that I mean if you're growing, let's say you have a farm stand based business and you're growing vegetables, selling them at your farm stand, and you decide, hey, there's a farmer's market starting up, I want to sell through that channel. And by the way, I think so many people are so interested, I think I'll start a CSA also. Every time another layer of farm activity is added, again, statistically in average, that adds $9,600 in net income to the farm. Retail agriculture is extremely proficient at layering different ways of selling the same thing that they're doing. Even selling the experience, right? Agritourism. I mean, what's better than, you know, that old thing about slaughtering hogs and the only thing they didn't harvest was the squeal? Well, now you can sell the squeal. If you have an agritourism, entertainment-based business that you're layering in with the CSA and with the farm stand and with the other activities. So what's it mean for that YBS, young, beginning, small farmers? What about them? What's it mean? And one of the most important thing it means is that the skills that are developed, particularly in retail agriculture, where there is that layering of different businesses, different enterprises on the farm, means that the management skills of those beginning farmers have to be much better. And it turns out that they're transferable to other businesses. And it turns out, and maybe I'm describing myself here, that if you have your main crop, for me, was grown in the wintertime in greenhouses, what do I do in the summertime? I do something else entirely. I have a different business. That's now being seen as a positive. It's being seen as risk management capability to have multiple sources of income. It used to be that we called that you can't hold down a real job. Now we call it risk management. Progress is a great thing, isn't it? Right. Okay, so here's something that may be a little bit scary. Those red counties are counties that in both the 2002 and the 2007 Ag Census reported no beginning farmers under age 25. That's kind of a problem if you're an ag lender or if you're a Farm Bureau County Board of Directors and you look at your county and you say, wow, we're not adding any new customers, right? Any new farmers who are going to be farming in the future. And there's some, we can forget about Nevada there. I mean, that's all desert. But look in the Northeast. There's some places pretty close to here where counties reported no farmers under age 25 for a period of 10 years. That doesn't speak well for the future.